2 years ago, we bought a 30-year-old 1994 Toyota Hilux.
Well, here she is, the big Luxie.
Should we put a rock under that? It's got a Toyota handbrake.
Nah, mate, this one works. Tested it.
Unheard of.
She was a little bit rough around the edges. Full farm spec. And well, it needed just this much TLC. We set out with one challenge, to transform the farm truck into the ultimate off-grid rig for Nav.
That's epic.
So on this episode, guys, we're gonna run you through the mighty Luxie. And we're gonna tell you the good, the bad. Do we love it? Do we hate it? Do we want to keep it? Are we going to sell it? Are we going to burn it? What are we going to do with the mighty little truck? Billy Slows. So let's run around the truck now. I'm going to tell you the little story about where it come from and what it looks like and what mods we've got on it at the moment. So Berkey really did nail exactly what we were after. Still kept it simple. We wanted it to look like we've just rolled it straight out of old bloody Robbo's busted ass farm shed. After Berkey took it on, and you know Berkey, he mucked around.
The new apprentice. This gun is quality.
And went over the top on some things, but after taking it from full bog stocker, he turned it into the ultimate little off-grid rig. And this is what it looks like today.
That was fun. That was definitely fun. Whew. Sweating a bit there. Wow.
And here it is. And I think Berkey done a great job upgrading the suspension to make sure it performed well on the long corrugated roads up in WA where Navsy was. We kept the bar work on the front. I have fallen in love with this bar, and we'll get to that a little bit later on, but we managed to keep the front bar. Now, I think it may have had a busted old antenna on there. I can't even remember. But communications was obviously very important. Nav being out in the bush, a little bit of safety, but also when we were touring in convoy. So the other thing we needed, guys, was some decent lighting. These things are like 2 lit candles. Nav actually took this thing all the way from Goldie right up to Kununurra and then all the way back again. We got the Genesis Light Force spotties up on the front. To be honest, pretty much need these on at night time. These 2 lights don't quite cut the cheddar. Now, the snorkel, guys, we've got the factory old school safari snorkel. We could have tried and done a nice little Stano from Fabi. We did one on the giveaway Lux. It did look great, but have a look at this thing. You can't get any better. Just old school, so we wanted to keep it old school looking. So suspension, guys. Now, the LN dead set handled like you were driving a trolley, a Coles trolley through a car park. This thing was absolutely horrendous. So Berkey went to town. You know what Berkey's like with his suspension. He loves it to flex like it's going out of fashion. And here's a little video of just how good the flex is. That is why we love Berkey. So we've got the Outback Kidders shocks in here. Berkey's put the right leaves in. So this thing actually rides pretty reasonable. We're gonna go with pretty reasonable. It's still a leaf sprung LN. So it doesn't handle like a brick anymore, but it sure as hell isn't a 300 series on the road. Now, I didn't even know this size existed, but I'm bloody glad they do. We got the BF Goodrich mud terrain. It is the KM3, guys. You know we don't run anything but, and that's for bloody good reason. None of the fleet over the past 10 years have ever had a flat, but that is the God honest truth, and you know we show you when we f up. So yeah, the BFs. Now, let's see what else we did. Interior, we went to town. Leather seat, flip up head deck. We got the huge sounds. Okay, no, we don't have any of that. What we do is we have holes in the door for the 6x9s. We use that as our rubbish bin. I don't know what happened, Berkey. He just didn't do anything with that, so that's cool. The steering wheel, we got the aftermarket one. No, that's factory as well. That comes with about 30 years of mold on it. The seats are the factory ripped seats. We actually should see if we can buy some seat covers, but guys, the interior is exactly the same. Another really awesome modification that Berkey did is he thought the mirrors looked terrible, and he was kind of right, and if you went over 80 Ks on the highway, they would fall over. But this is the one thing Berkey is well and truly shit the bed on. Not only do we have holes in the door, Berkey, Matthew, but you can't see a fucking thing. You look in the side mirror, and all you can see is here. You look here, you can see your elbow. That's all you get. We're actually going to change these because they're a liability. Berkey, you messed up. You don't do it very often. We'll let you off.
Sick.
We also chucked on the old man visor. When we got to the back, guys, same again. We did the rear suspension with the Outback Kidder shocks. We went for a toolbox. Now we wanted to keep, we're like, do we shorten the tray? Do we make it more full drivey, or do we just leave it as is? And with this, we wanted to just keep it basically factory. We threw a little toolbox on the back here. That gives Nav a little bit of storage, somewhere to put a camp chair. And you can't quite fit your swag in here, but you can fit a camp chair. And on the other side, we fitted it out with a little 12-volt system. We've actually got a Red Arc Go Block with a little Red Arc Go Block cradle. We've got a little inverter in here, so Navsy can charge his batteries when he's out there filming. So a really simple, easy to use Red Arc dual battery system with a little inverter. One thing we did have was the spare wheel sitting in the back. Now, that was the world's biggest pain in the ass. So we yeeted that because we run BFGs and we haven't had a flat, but you really should always have at least one spare. So let me run you through now where this truck has gone and just what an absolute weapon this thing has been. And then I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do with it next.
This is your last chance. In less than a week, this car will be drawn and given away. So if you want to get one of the last V8 Land Cruisers, now's your chance. Head over to the Explore Dream. All
right, so where has this little weapon been and how's it performed? Well, old Navsy, like I said, he got in this thing and he took it straight from the Gold Coast all the way up to Kununurra.
This whirly. How cool is this? That's wicked.
Took it all the way up to Kununurra and he went out there shooting off-grid missions. He took it through mud, bog holes, he took it out touring, he lived out the back of it. Now Navsy actually decided he was moving from Kununurra back down to Queensland. So unfortunately, Navs had to get in the car and drive all the way back down to the Gold Coast. Now, since it's been on the Gold Coast, I said, well, give me the keys back. No good at sitting in your driveway. So we've actually had this rig down at HQ. Not only did it do all of that trip with bugger all gone wrong.
Is that the case? I'll give it a little twist. See what happens.
We did actually have to swap out some rear shockies. We had some shocky lengths. Either we calculated it wrong or the shocks were done wrong. I'm 95% sure it was Berkey. I just don't want to blame him in case it was my fault and I wrote the number down wrong. Other than that, Nav didn't have any dramas with it. We got it back down and this thing has been used as an Explore Life shop truck. So it's been loading to and from the tip, our screen printing gear, from one of our factories over to the main shed. Anyone whose car is in the shop, and after the last couple of months, since I got rid of my Rebel, this has actually been my daily driver. So even though it was my daily driver, we decided we wanted to get that rig back out there doing some trips. Now, normally Navsy sits in the passenger seat for me, and this was for his off-grid trips, but we thought, you know what? It's performed so well, and it's such a weapon. Why don't we bring it along on the main Explore Life series? And so that's what we did, guys. Out through New South Wales, through Sundown National Park, through the little mud runs. And it was bloody awesome to see. You guys seem to have loved the content of the LN. Now, this isn't the ultimate tourer. This is fun as hell, and it's great for long weekends, maybe extended trips, 1 week, 2 weeks, living out of your swag type thing. Of course you can live out of this, and of course you could do a lap around Australia in this thing. But is it the ultimate tourer? Absolutely not. But having Navsy come along on these little trips and have the mighty LN do absolutely everything the Ram does has been awesome to, one, show you guys that you don't need all the fancy shit. And I tell you what, we have more fun in this than we do in the Ram, hands down, no questions asked. This thing is bloody epic. It's easy, it's lightweight, it's small, you can beat the shit out of it, and you don't really care about it. The car cost me sub 10 grand, maybe 15 if you added up all the accessories, and that's pushing it. And I know you guys have appreciated having it in the episodes where you can see, all right, you don't need all the gear, and the one thing that we do want to always portray with the Explore Life is it doesn't matter what vehicle you've got. It's just about getting out there and having as much fun as you possibly can, seeing cool locations, taking as many toys as you can to those cool locations, allowing you to explore further and see more and do more. This is just a prime example of this can go anywhere. Anything we do, if we got a big 4B and a big boat, just remember you can do it with this and a tinny. This year, yes, we've had the big boat, but before we had that, all we really had was a 376 tinny. Me and Navs took that little tinny 20 Ks offshore. Don't do that. Terrible idea. Bailing buckets. Definitely we didn't film that one because it was, you know, we might die situation. We had a lot of fun with old Navsy out there doing everything we did. We've decided we're gonna put the LN to the ultimate test. So where are we going? I think it's pretty obvious. We've snuck it into a couple of previous episodes because we've been out there wheeling this thing and having so much fun with it. Me and Nav have been yapping over a couple of cold travellers and I said, we're taking this to the cave.
Yeah, I reckon we should.
We should just load it up, 2 swags, and disappear up to Cape York. Now, I've had another bloke in my other ear, Berkey, going, we need to take this to the Cape. Why can't we take this to the Cape? Let's go early. Let's go when the water's deep. Let's take on the Cape when it's at its wildest. That's caused a little bit of a dilemma because we have decided next year we're gonna take the LN all the way from the Goldie to the very tip of Australia, which really is the ultimate touring challenge. Problem is, 3 of us in this. This is what 3 people in this looks like. We're gonna roll the car. Oh, I need a Jesus bar. Hey, there we go. That sucked. So I really don't want to do that. This has happened today. We were filming this little video about this going to the Cape. This has happened on a phone call on the way down here. I rang Burke and I said, we're gonna do the Cape trip. And he said, great. And I said, well, Nav wants to take his car. And he goes, well, I built it. What do you mean? Cape York was my idea. And I said, don't worry. I've got an idea. Berkey actually has a sneaky LN in his backyard. It's pretty well stripped and he's about to get paint and panel done and he was gonna do a little build and sell it. And so I've said to Berkey, I'm gonna buy your LN. So that's what's happening at the moment. We might buy Berkey's LN, I might buy another one. But I'm gonna get another LN for me and Berkey. And I think we're gonna chuck Navsy in his and maybe we might even throw Tylen in the passenger seat. We'll see how we go. But we're taking 2 LNs to the tip of Cape York next year. It's gonna be fun. It's just a cheap full drive where you're happy to do anything. There's not much electronics. You don't care if you scratch it. Got balloons for tyres.
Yeah.
Where's something hard? I wanna climb up a mountain. You don't care if you get a bit of water through the floor pans, and it's just fun. My favourite ever Cape York trip was definitely my first time ever in my D22 with me mates. 5 weeks, I didn't even have enough room to fit a swag. And I lived on this stretcher out in the Mozzies for 5 weeks and I've progressed. And then we went back to the budget builds, the Mighty Disco. And you wanna know how much fun it is taking an old beater to the Cape? It looks a little bit like this. So we're gonna sort of replicate that. It's not gonna be a budget build challenge, but we wanna get a couple of LNs and head up to Cape York. It's hard to get a really cheap LN on the internet. I'm not gonna run you through today what's happening with mine and Berkey's one, but I'm gonna run you through with how Navs has performed the way it is. Is it Cape York ready, or what should we do to get it to Cape York? So let's start at the front and we'll work our way around. We have a huge problem, and that is when we get stuck, we're f***ed. We have no winch, we have no recovery points. No. We've been putting soft shackles around the chassis. That is a big no-no. So we definitely need some recovery points and a winch cradle. This is where I want your guys' feedback. Do we do a full new front bar, or do we put a winch cradle and keep the old school alley farm looking bar? Now, the other problem we had is the little mounts that were on here actually rattled loose on the corrugations that Nav done, and both spotties snapped clean off. So we put these little clamps on there. They're not gonna cut the cheddar, so we're probably gonna have to weld the mounts on there and get these things mounted correctly. Don't really need any more lighting. This thing is capable to go to the Cape right now as it is. However, if you do get stuck, you can't self-recover other than Max Tracks.
Do not have a winch, so if I'm stuck, that's it. We're staying here. I reckon we'll be good. Otherwise we're stuffed. I thought I was stuck for sure. I thought I was done.
And when you're going somewhere as remote as Cape and as early as we're going, if this is the lead vehicle and Berkey's doesn't have a winch, we're stuffed. So winch is an absolute must. We've already got the communications up front. We've already got the snorkel. That's gonna need a little bit of looking to. I'm expecting the Cape York water, it was up here on the ram. So that puts it about halfway up the windscreen on the LN. So we're gonna need to make sure the airbox is fully sealed, the snorkel is fully sealed. But let's pop the bonnet and let's have a look, speaking of sealing shit up. Under the bonnet, as you can see, it's had absolutely no love. Little bits of surface rust starting to form, so we might need to give this just a little bit of a birthday. The airbox should probably be okay. We want to check all the seals on this. Looks like the snorkel is actually properly sealed as well. But there is one very big problem with Billy. Billy's slow as fuck. It's so slow, and we need a snail. We either need to do a full engine conversion, which now I'm building my own. Navsy, you're not getting the engine conversion. Maybe mine and Berkey's is gonna get an engine conversion. At minimum, we're gonna chuck a little snail on this. It's exactly what we put on the giveaway LN. It's not gonna make it a powerhouse. It's not gonna make it fast, but it's gonna make it a lot more drivable. This thing does slow down when you're going up hills, drop back to fourth, annoy traffic, all that sort of gear. So that's something that really has to happen anyway. As far as the rest of it, she's good to go. She's Cape York ready for sure. Interior, one thing we're gonna do is just check the floor pans. I'm just gonna check for any holes. One thing Berkey is really good at is he's probably already got underneath there and patched all that up, but we're gonna make it as submarine proof as possible. I said to Berkey on the way here, I said, we're going early, mate. She's gonna be deep. I don't think the electronics sit too low in this, but if there is, we're gonna relocate anything really electronic up high. I'm telling you, we're gonna go early. We're gonna go early. In the back here, guys, this box has sort of leaked a little bit. It's let a bit of water in, we've probably put wet stuff in there. I don't know how much this actually leaks, but I think this could be a little bit bigger. I think we could probably go to a slightly higher one, which will just give you more capacity to put dry shit inside, especially if we're going up the Cape. You're gonna wanna have your own food, water, a couple of jerry cans for your water and all that sort of gear. And if it's up a little bit higher, I'd be strapping the 2 swags up on the roof. Anything here is very, very wet. The water will fill up the tray. So that's something to keep in mind. I think we might upgrade the toolbox and we should be good to go. As you can see, Navsy at Sundown National Park, Navsy bent all these up. He's an absolute lunatic. His left is too low. 4-wheel drive pods, hopefully the lights are still intact. Oh, they're not intact. I can see reflector on the ground. Oh, man.
Lads, how'd you go?
Let's go, Judy. That destroyed the back of it. I mean, it was rusted anyway, so it was going to come off any second anyway. But there is a bit of light. A bit of my light still back down there, so.
I wouldn't blame the rust on that, mate. I think that's all you.
Pretty happy with the BFs. That Sundown National Park will tear your tyres to pieces. I've done a lot of kilometres on some harsh terrain. You do one trip to Sundown, take a look at your tyres. We had a look on all of the cars that were there, and oof, it's not pretty. That shaly, really sharp rock tears them to pieces. Nav also did this at Sundown. To be fair, in Nav's defence, we also had a car run up our arse on the highway the other day, which made it a little bit worse. We're gonna put some new tail lights on it and maybe this new bracket, this little surround here just to protect it. Or do we do a whole new tray? These are the things that I want you guys to let us know once again in the comments. If it's a wheeling truck, we should be cutting at least 450 mil, if not more, off the back of a tray, either this tray or building a new custom tray to suit. Mine and Berkey's LN, I think we're gonna do a custom tray. But this one, it really is my daily and it's the shop truck. So I don't wanna ruin the practicality of this for one little Cape York trip. So I love having the big tray. We can fit the dirt bikes. I can fit a full-size dirty in the back here with that little toolbox. Not trying to build the ultimate wheeler. That's not the aim with this. It's to stay farm truck spec and not build it up like a full-on touring machine. That's definitely not the aim of Billy Goat Bluff, let me tell you. Berkey's gonna have a little play with suspension. He wants it to keep doing its flex. We threw in a couple of really cheap shocks that we found up in WA there, so Berkey's probably just gonna do a little once-over on the suspension and make sure it's performing. Another thing that I think would be beneficial, once again, not needed. I can't believe how good this thing is off-road factory. They're so light that they float over everything. In the bog holes, even with no power, you just air those tyres down, and because it's so light, it just crawls its way out. But Kate has got a few harder challenges, so we might look at putting a locker in. Let us know what you think. Do we keep it without lockers? Keep it really simple? You can pick up a mechanical locker for this, about 500 bucks. Apparently, it's no good to chuck them in the rear, because in the wet, they can engage and you can get a little bit happy, but we're gonna probably chuck one in the front. That means when you're driving, it's fine. Only when you engage four-wheel drive and your braking traction is when you're gonna have that front locker engage. Let us know, what else do you think we should do to the Luxy? The crazy thing is I know for a fact I could get in this car right now, stop, buy a carton of Traveller, throw me swag in, put a little esky with some ice, a couple of snags and a gas cooker, and we'd be out of here. And I know I could get this thing all the way to the tip with probably 4 max tracks. I reckon that'd do it. But the little winch is necessary. The locker will be a helper. The snail, so that it's got a little bit better drivability, and we'll just tidy up. You know, we want it legal with actual working lights that aren't broken. That just happened yesterday. But let us know in the comments what you think. And guys, if you are looking at getting into four-wheel driving, if you've never done it, because we still have a lot of followers that have never even got out there and even done four-wheel driving. Sub 10K, very little that you need to do to them to go anywhere you want. Very little maintenance, cheap parts if anything does break. Everything's super cost effective. The LN the world, as they say. This is gonna be a cool little build series for Berkey. We're gonna take all your feedback in the comments here. I'm gonna give them to Berkey. We're gonna give this thing a spruce, and then we've got 2 LNs to go and have a play with, which it's gonna be probably the coolest trip of next year. And next year, I'm building a wild truck. But next year, guys, we will have a good mix. We got some massive boating trips coming up. We got the new major tourer for the series, and we got 2 badass LNs that we're gonna build. So guys, that's a wrap on this little episode. I noticed that still about 40 or 50% of you guys aren't subscribed. Make sure you subscribe, turn that bell on so you're not gonna miss any of the LN action. And once again, we appreciate all our subscribers. You guys are legends. Till next time, get out in whatever you've got and enjoy the Explore Life.